What publication is this from? This is legitimate? Someone who works for the Washington Post just went, "This movie is very, very bad." What's up, guys? Welcome to Boss Level 8, where we make fun of movie critics. We're about to talk about the movie Unsane, which was completely filmed on an iPhone, so I feel like this is gonna be a field day for some critic. I feel like some people are gonna like it just because it's artsy, and some people are gonna hate it because it's artsy. Let's see what this guy says. I'll tell you what's crazy. The name Sawyer Valentini is crazy. I mean, it's not really that crazy. We don't know where she's from. It also sounds like a hot name for a girl, like Dylan. But I mean, go to Botswana and then be like, your name's crazy. But that's what the young heroine of Unsane, a movie about a woman who finds herself locked up in a psychiatric institution against her will, is called. It's weird that that's your first problem with the movie, but you know, cool. I don't care if your name is like Captain Superfly or like Sheboygan. If the movie's good, the movie's good. If it sucks, it sucks. It doesn't like change the legitimacy of the film just because her name's Sawyer. Played by Claire Foy of The Crown, Sawyer has recently moved to Pennsylvania from Massachusetts to escape a stalker. After visiting a psychiatrist where she ill-advisedly admits to feeling suicidal every now and again, she's handed a paper to sign and, without reading it, finds that she has just voluntarily committed herself to a 24-hour stay in a psychiatric hospital. So far, so good, because that is the plot of the film and you didn't fuck it up. Well played. So from here on out, we know you understand what this movie's about, and if you say anything dumb, we have every right to call you dumb. Once she's stuck there, Sawyer finds that her psychotic tormentor from Boston, Joshua Leonard of the Blair Witch Project, is reasonably enough employed by the hospital. I can't tell if the reasonably enough was sarcastic. I mean, it is fairly reasonable when you find out why. So I'm hoping that's not sarcastic because we are dealing with a stalker, so it's not weird that the stalker is stalking. It'd be weird if the stalker was like in Germany. Like, I don't really care right now. It'd be a very boring movie. It's just like a movie about a woman who's dealing with some stuff and handling it well. And also, I did not make the connection that he was from the Blair Witch Project, but yeah, alright, did kind of recognize him. Thanks for looking that up. So far, that's the most help you've been. Or is Sawyer the psychotic one and Mr. Stalker simply a figment of her tortured imagination? Well, that is generally the question of the film, but then you did explain the entire plot of the film, so you probably knew that. I mean, people who are stalked do generally think that they see their stalker everywhere, whether or not there's a restraining order involved. But I mean, so far all you're doing is just kind of giving us plot, so let's see where this is going. Especially now that we even more know that you understand the movie. That's the conundrum that Unsane's trailer would have you believe this movie is about. But don't buy it. Unsane is a straightforward B-horror movie flick. The snake pit without the prestige. Complete with intentional overdosing, electroshock torture, and patients threatening each other with sharpened spoons when they're not either screaming or catatonic. First off, if you're talking about B-movie, the thing's shot on a fucking iPhone, so I don't know what you were expecting. It was an iPhone 7 Plus, but but it was still a phone, so I like to not expect B-movie is kind of strange. Also, I feel like it's not weird to have things like electroshock torture and patients threatening each other in a psychiatric ward where a fucked up stalker happens to be. Like, I feel like that's what should be there. Like, it'd be weird if none of that stuff happened. Like, it would be very strange if like a psycho patient wasn't in a psych ward. These are tropes that would pretty much happen in any movie that takes place in a psychiatric hospital. If it's Jim Carrey in a comedy, you're gonna have the same tropes. If you make it like a romantic drama, make it fucking Awakenings. And you're still gonna have the same kind of tropes. You might not have the torture part, but there's gonna be crazy people like threatening and shit. Because there's crazy people in the crazy place. It also is very, very bad. What publication is this from? This is legitimate? This is like a professional?
Washington Post.
Washington Post is what this is from. Alright. Someone who works for the Washington Post just went, "This movie is very, very bad." What possible mishap of legal paperwork could explain why Steven Soderbergh would have ever agreed to direct this lazy, misbegotten mess, written by Jonathan Bernstein and James Greer of the Jackie Chan secret agent comedy The Spy Next Door? That would lead me to believe that you respect Steven Soderbergh, but like not enough to where he, you know, couldn't avoid accidentally making a movie. Which is really funny, like, how did this really good director make this fucking movie? It must have been an accident. But if he's a really good director and very smart, like, you wouldn't think that he could accidentally be involved in a movie. Like, that would make him not smart and not a good director who's good at his job. Like, there are very few things you can accidentally do. I mean, it's not like he pulled out his phone to make a phone call and was just like, oops, I accidentally made a film. Although he's good enough to do that. Matt Damon, believe it or not, also appears in a flashback cameo as a security consultant hired by Sawyer. Did the actor lose a bet, possibly working with Soderbergh on the director's 2011's Contagion? Or maybe you just mentioned that they've worked together before and that's why he showed up again. I hate when people ask fucking questions and then answer them themselves. I don't even know if you answered the question yourself. There's no other reason I can think of to explain why A-listers would associate themselves with this garbage. Maybe they liked it. Have you ever met a fitness nut who still eats at fucking McDonald's? Cause I have. You know why? Cause they're like, yeah, I know it's bad for me, but I like it. I'm not saying this movie's bad for them. I'm just saying, don't question when someone does something because they might just like it. Because clearly this movie didn't have a big ass fucking paycheck. There are other names you may recognize. Amy Irving plays Sawyer's mother, but don't get your hopes up, she's barely in it. Oh, I was so fucking excited. You said her name, and I was like raring to go. I was gonna hop on the Amy Irving fan page and just realizing that one doesn't exist, probably. Juno Temple is wasted as one of Sawyer's drooling ward mates. And Pharoah, late of Saturday Night Live, plays a sympathetic fellow patient. Absolutely no offense to Pharoah, but A-list? Pharoah was like kicked out of Saturday Night Live and talks about it publicly and has actually been like looking for more legitimate work. I don't consider that A-list. And I like him. I just don't consider that A-list. Like, he's someone who can walk down the street and no one will know who he is. That's really not A-list. That's more, he's in some stuff. I want him to be A-list. I think he's very talented, but nope. Pharoah is at least passably watchable and also has a good enough sense of humor to put that on his fucking website. Pharoah, passably watchable, according to Washington Post. But he's not enough to stop that sinking feeling that you, like Sawyer, have just made a terrible, terrible mistake. I feel like it's hard to make a mistake going into this movie. It's shot on an iPhone. It looks like it's shot on an iPhone. The trailers gave an exact impression of what you were about to see. It looks like you're gonna see a similar, like, B-movie kind of situation, and you do. Whether or not it's good, that's, you know, personal choice, but like, I feel like it's really hard to walk into this movie wrong. We even walked into a theater when we saw it that was still labeled game night because they hadn't changed the sign yet and we knew what we were getting into. What do you guys think of Michael O'Sullivan's review of Unsane? And did you see the movie? Are you planning on seeing the movie? We'd love to hear it. Put it down in the comments. I personally enjoyed it, but I actually like B movies. So when I got a B movie, I was like, yay. But whether you're like me and you liked it, or you didn't, and you're not like me, which is totally fine, and probably preferable by some people, I don't know. Put it down in the comments because we'd love to find out. If you want to see another video from us, click one of the ones on the screen. Also, if it's your first time here, hit the subscribe button if you liked what you saw, and until we see you next time, geek out and game on.